Hey guys, Alex here with Paragon Performance. Today we're going to be showing you how to install the Widebody C8 Grille bezel lights. These are going to fit your Eray, your Z06, your ZR1s, and in theory the ZR1X as well. The body's still the same, so the assumption is they probably will work with that as well. These are going to have a white daytime running light as well as a turn signal built into them. They do have some user configurable options, so you can pick between a white daytime running light or a amber daytime running light, as well as a sequential turn signal or solid turn signal. They are a OEM direct replacement for this piece here on the bumper, so the fit and finish is going to be, spot on perfect like it's an OEM part. Of course, plug and play, so there's no need to modify any wiring as well. But yeah, other than that, let's get to this install. All right, so we're going to start here by opening our frunk. Now we need to remove all of this plastic trim here in our frunk. That'll give us access to the bolts here along the top of the bumper that we'll take out a little bit later. So let's get those pulled out. These just have some clips down the side and they just pull out away from the fender. Remove our battery cover. And then we're going to remove this piece along the front here. This is a little more tricky because it does tuck under the fender and we got to get it up past the seal over here. So just kind of twist it up and out and then just pull it carefully out from underneath the fender. Then you can just walk along and pop these clips out and then up and out of there. Now we're going to prep here so when we pull this bumper off, we're not going to damage any paint. Obviously this car is wrapped, but we're still going to tape it off to protect it anyway. We're going to want to tape off this area here just because you're going to have your hands here pulling on the bumper and stuff, so we don't want to scratch anything there. And then we're going to want to try to tuck some tape in this seam all the way around the bottom of the headlight here, just to prevent the headlight colliding when we take the bumper on and off and possibly damaging the wrap or paint. And then we want to tape down this side as well because we're going to be touching over here when we pull the bumper off. All right, so something like that. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, so let's get our vehicle raised and supported. All right, so we're underneath the car here. We have 4 panels that we need to actually remove. We need to remove these 2 outer panels, this front panel, and this mid panel here. All of your screws here in this midsection are a 7mm screw, and then all of your side panel and perimeter screws are all a T15. Let's get them off. And then to get this front panel off, you have some hidden 7mm screws in these holes. All right, so we've got all the panels off here. There is a square tube here on both sides that is a support for the front lip that we need to undo. There are 4 bolts on either side, and then we can kind of just turn this square tube and take it out. We're going to leave the metal support attached to the bumper. 2 7s here on the front, 2 7s here on the back. And you'll do the same thing with the bracket on the other side. And we just gotta rotate it here a little bit, or slide it and rotate it out. All right, so next we are gonna remove the wheel. That's so we can access the fender liner because we do need to remove that. You will need to do this on both sides. just so it gives us some access to get the bolts and stuff out here to remove the bumper. Let's get to it. All right, so we're gonna get this fender liner removed. We're gonna start by removing these 3 7mm screws from the bottom here on the back. Then you have a handful of T15s and plastic push clips here holding the fender liner in. We also need to make sure we remove this mud flap because there is 2 T15s behind it. It just snaps into place, so you can just pull it off. May need to use a little pry tool, but let's get the fender liner out. All right, so we need to start here by paying attention to these bolts to remove the bumper from the fender. This outboard one closest to the fender here, we need to actually take completely out. However, the 2 inside ones here, we just need to loosen them. And then we will need to undo this electrical connector here. On the left side, you will have 2 of them if you have the front cameras on your car. On the right side, you will just have 1 connector. And then we will need to remove the connector bracket from this aluminum bracket. It's just pushed in with a Christmas tree. So okay, repeat that same process for the other side. All right, so we're down to one of the final steps here before we actually take this bumper off. We need to remove these 6 T15 screws across the ledge here of the bumper. There are 2 of them here kind of in these points towards the inside that we need to leave in place. Those are your bumper alignment stuff. You do not want to take those out. Only these 6. All right, so now we need to pull the bumper here out of the little clip that's in here. Just kind of stick your fingers in underneath here and then pull up firmly. They can be pretty tough, so you may have to pull pretty hard. Just so it's free like so. And then we need to do the same on the other side. And then you want to double check where your bumper meets your fender over here, that it is free as well. All right, so it's time to get this bumper pulled off here. Use of a friend is always helpful to help take this bumper off so we don't bang it around too much. Just one person on either side, just kind of pull it out. And sometimes you just wiggle it off of there. Like so. All right, so as you can see here, bumper is off. We're actually going to be removing this trim piece here. The light is actually a full replacement for that. It's honestly just a couple clips on the back side of the bumper here. So we'll need to flip the bumper over to get to that. But first we're going to take the tow hook covers out on both sides here. You can actually just reach in from the underside through a hole, kind of push out on the top. We're going to take that out. Just gives us a little more clearance when taking that in and out and putting the light in. Set these aside somewhere safe, and then we're going to get this flipped over and get those clips out of the back side. All right, so as you can see, this actually has our Paragon grill guards installed here. We do need to remove that. It's just these 4 little screws here. Unbolt it. You can leave the brackets and stuff behind. If you have the scrape armor ones, same idea. They're just going to be push clips instead of screws. So let's get this grill guard off, and then you're going to want to do the same thing on the other side of the bumper as well. All right, so next we need to remove these 4 clips here along the back. So it's easiest to just use 2 screwdrivers here. You kind of stick one in behind this little clip and then use the other to push this tab down. And you can just kind of walk it out of the bumper here. Just like that. And then do that for the other 3. Don't lose these clips because you're going to need them to reattach the light when we go to reinstall it. But let's get this trim piece popped out. All right, so we're going to grab a little plastic pry tool. This will just help us get those little tabs released. They do have a little bit of an edge on them. So we're just going to kind of pry up on them here and just pop them out. And then just go down where the clips are at as we go across. Got this one here to do as well. This one's a little bit more odd to do. And just like that, it actually just popped right out. We're going to grab our light and basically stick it back in the same way we popped it apart. And then of course we'll need to repeat all of that same process on the other side. All right, so we've got the correct side light here. We've got a wire harness as well. I've left the plastic kind of on in the place that you need to hold it. Just keeps you from fingerprinting or smudging the part up. We do need to take the wire. It needs to fish up through this corner of the grill here and run across. So we'll need to do that when we go to actually install it. And then we just need to line all of those little clips and tabs up through the holes in the bumper that we just recently took apart, and snap it back into place. All right, so we've got this one lined up here and started. We're just gonna get this bottom one down here, set it kind of started into the spot there. And then you should be able to just kind of push up on it. Keep an eye on those ones and the other tabs as we go along here. It should just kind of pop and snap right up there into place. We're just gonna grab those little clips and reinstall them so it stays retained in place. So we're going to take the wire harness from the light here and the wire harness with the little black box. We're just going to kind of tuck that up in this little groove all the way across. We're going to plug the matching connector into that. Make sure it clicks. And then the rest of this is just going to get kind of routed up because we just need to be where these connectors are on the side here. You can use some zip ties and tie it up to that harness if you would like. We just need to make sure this makes it into the fender well. So, all right, so this side's all finished up here. Just need to repeat all of that process on the other side there. If yours had grill guards, you are going to want to go ahead and reinstall those now. And then we're just going to get our bumper thrown back on here, and I'll be back with you guys shortly to go through finalizing the wire there. So. All right, so we've got the bumper set back on here, got our wire harness routed up and through here. Just make sure it's out where we can get to it. And then we need to actually undo this headlight connector here. There is a little red safety tab on the top that will need to be undone. Sometimes you'll need to use a pick or try to get a small screwdriver under it. They can be a little bit challenging. We're gonna unplug that. We're gonna take our provided Y harness here. Obviously the one side just plugs into the headlight. The other side here is going to plug into the harness. We're just going to try to tuck that up above here as best we can. And then this other side here, we're just going to lay it across here. It's going to plug into here. It does only go on there one way, but we're going to plug it into there, and then we're just going to try to tuck this up out of the way here as best we can. And then we're going to essentially install the same harness on the other side. So. All right, now we've got that buttoned up here. We're gonna go ahead and just plug in our OEM camera connections here on this side, and then you'll have a single connector on the other side you need to remember to plug in and snap it back into place. There you guys have it. Pretty simple install. Add that daytime running light and additional turn signals to the front of your vehicle. Give it a few more cool style points, of course, as well. Be sure to check out our video on how to change some of the options. These have some different options and functions that you can select on your own if you don't want to use what they are preset with. Simple, just some sequence stuff with the headlights. Check that video out if you want to change any of that stuff. And then of course, you got to finish putting all the bolts back in your bumper. Get your under trays and stuff reinstalled, fender liners reinstalled, all your frunk stuff, of course, all put back in as well. And then from there, you're good to go. Enjoy the lights. As always, like, subscribe, and comment. We'll see you guys next time.